a prelude or like a harbinger of things to come for other countries? Do you think that this was like a testing ground that's going to be sort of exported beyond China?
We're supposed to keep this fun and light. But
100%. 100% is the answer
This
to this.
is fun for me.
but
I happen to be a deep, dark person.
but no, I mean, a lot of the stuff.
Me too.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff with the central bank digital currency stuff. Yeah, I think so. Like, I'll get more into it in the event as well. But you know, and that's actually one thing I try to tell people too, because I've been trying to harp on this a little bit on different podcasts. Now, I'm not saying there's like an equivalency, right? Like, you know, obviously China has very strict political structures. They make people afraid, like, outside their borders. It's like actually insane.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, you have different states that are doing versions of this, right? And the idea is, like, we would hope that states would learn less from China and more from open source freedom tech, right? Or at least that's my hope. I'm sitting here wearing like a Bitcoin propaganda hat, and so obviously I'm kind of like team freedom tech here.
Yeah.
But
Or the Bill of Rights.
Or the Bill of Rights.
That's a good place to
It's a good
start.
place
I
to start.
feel like that was a massive innovation.
I'm Canadian though. That doesn't apply to me. And also all the agencies.
We're
all
so
the-
sorry for you.
Yeah, and all the agencies
We
conspire
pray we're
me.
more free.
Actually, yeah, all the agencies.
Look, I don't know what to do with Canada.
No one does it, I think.
I mean, you know, this will probably shoot my chances of getting elected prime minister. But if we want to talk about that,
No, I mean, there's places it could go, and it could be higher.
places it could go could be higher. Are you implying that we should move
As
to Alaska,
I'm
or
saying,
like what are you?
no, I'm sorry. I mean, as in saying that your prime ministers, you can only go up
Yeah.
from there. From the ones that
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's.
I was dunking on your prime minister in short.
Yeah.
He's very, very unpopular. So that's not
Yes.
you know,
Really?
it's a state of his pay. Well, currently, yeah. If
He's
there was
so
a,
handsome.
well, you know,
Blackface?
apparently,
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah.
Canadian people
They
can look
buried
past
that one.
that.
I'm going to bring it back up.
Yeah.
No, they can look past that. I mean, I came from Quebec, and one of these things that I learned early on is like, it's actually so funny how this works. It's almost like the long arc of history, because his dad brought tanks in
Yeah.
against Quebecers. To
Yeah.
be fair, the Quebecers, they, you know, the thing is like I don't know what happened, but Canadians got a little bit more soft on this, and in terms of I think the trucker stuff, for example, where they were like, oh, there's trucks in the streets, it's really loud. I was like, y'all, calm down. This is probably not like the Emergency Act. Previously, before his dad brought in tanks, to be fair, the group at the time had like murdered a cabinet minister and like done bombings.
The
and done,
Quebecois go hard.
Yeah,
We're talking
there's-
about like, you know, hatchets and Molotov cocktails with like maple syrup and stuff. Like, it's not good.
Yeah,
You don't want to
yeah.
mess with the Quebecois,
Yeah.
especially if you go far up there.
Well, we had that joke, but then but they did go hard actually, and so they brought in the tanks. But you know, the Quebecers still remember that.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why he never got he was
When
in.
was
wasn't
that? That was
getting
probably like
majority
the
government.
80s? Early 80s? 70s? Okay.
Yeah. And he's never gotten a majority government as a result.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at there's a website 338, which is kind of like 538 but for Canada, you'll see how Canadians think.
I
Like
have
right now.
a beef with Canada, and it has to do
I have
with
a beef with
I'm going to tell you. The no street lights on major highways.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to die. I was in Canada earlier this year, and I'm driving from Vancouver to Banff, and I was like, what fresh hell is this? I can't see anything. Curve, I don't know, off a cliff. Snow's blowing.
Moose.
How? How do you get
An
around
occasional
it?
moose.
The occasional, you could.
We do Slays with Wolves. Did they not like introduce you to that? You
I
gotta
got
go.
to, I guess.
You gotta go through the whole thing. No, I mean,
No streetlights. I don't get it.
the one beef I have is that Americans think Canadians are like really nice, and I just have no idea where that comes from. Like I'm in Toronto and people
think
are
it's the
swearing
air.
and yelling at me. Yeah, and I'm always like, if they knew. And then I always talk to Americans. They're like, oh, you're so like nice up there, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Most
Newfoundland,
Americans have not
like
got up
Nova
there.
Scotia, very nice. They're kind of nice there.
You can't really understand
Prince
them
Edward
though.
Island?
No,
That's kind
not
of
at all.
yeah.
It's basically like Scottish, right? So it's going to be terrible food. It's going to be drinking a lot, and you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, still part of the Commonwealth.
It's still part of the. I mean, the money still has the Queen. I mean, I'm not
I'm
low
a British
key.
citizen, so I'm
Yeah,
all
the
about it.
loonies, right? The loonies still have
Looney
Queen
has it.
Elizabeth on it.
Yeah.
Is it going to get updated
I
for
love
Charles?
her.
Poor
Oh,
Chuck.
hopefully
Poor
not.
Chuck.
Hopefully not.
No one wants him. No one wants him.
No, I think I think that would actually cause Canada to maybe like split off. You know,
We're
like,
done with this.
We're
No
done.
Charles.
We're done with it. Yeah, because Queen Elizabeth, you know, the money looks kind of like you got King Charles.
Very
outside.
regal. Yeah, no, you can't do
You can't do it.
And
You
it's
can't
been,
do it.
she's just been on it for so long.
Yeah.
Just not ready for the end of that era.
Also, the other things Americans are always like, the funny money is literally funny money. Like, I usually just use cash and like Lightning, actually. Not to pose or flex, but like, this is the way. This is the way. This is the way. But no, like our cash is like money colored. It's like monopoly money. So I always hear Americans saying that's
it's
like
plastic
such a problem.
now, right?
It's plastic, but
Very
it's
plastic.
more indestructible in that way. Like
I
in the
know,
sense
but
of
microplastics, they stay with you.
I just
do.
never
Especially
carry
men.
cash ever.
Can we talk about microplastics? Is that like a topic that we should talk about?
Yeah,
too?
we could talk about microplastics. We could talk about whatever you want.
Oh, this is like such a this is
open.
a
This is the
wide.
Wide open.
This is a amuse bouche.
This is the warm up.
Listen, if you let him off the rails,
Get-
no getting him back in though. I'm just telling you that right now.
Before we go on to microplastics,
Right.
I feel like it's going to go off the rails from there. I have
Yep.
to ask, would Mao hold Bitcoin?
Yeah, everybody asked me this. I think because I made it the book title.
Yeah,
You really set yourself
Hiding
up
the
there.
question. This is the plug.
Okay, so first, please buy my book. It's awesome. But also,
It is awesome.
second, yeah. So the title was actually originally "One Country, Two Blockchains," which no one would have understood.
I mean, I don't even understand it now.
Exactly.
I lived in Hong Kong. That's the only reason I understand.
That's the only reason. But you live in Hong Kong.
I lived in Hong Kong for almost 2 years.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. So
I
yeah,
love Hong Kong.
It's just
yeah.
the blockchain.
It's
I hope it's going to be okay.
definitely a different place these days. But
Yeah. I was there 2011, 2013.
yeah.
Where did you live there?
Yeah.
Where were you in Hong Kong?
Shengwan.
Okay.
I went to
Oh.
school. I did a dual degree program when I got into Bitcoin. NYU had a partnership program with the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, so I got to stay there for a bit.
Are you
Do you-
bilingual then?
No, God, no. What, Cantonese? Could you imagine?
Yeah, because they speak Cantonese.
One could
there.
dream.
If I start breaking out Cantonese,
Listen, okay, so I went to Taiwan with a journalist. He is so tall, former Mormon, tall, bald, white as it could be, speaks a perfect Mandarin. It's uncanny.
that's awesome. No,
So I could believe it. Of
it
you.
was only 2 years, and I wish I
Yeah.
picked up like a little bit, but it's all food
Yeah.
and menu oriented.
Yeah, that makes
like
sense.
it's such a phenomenal place.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd
I
love
wish
to
I had
go.
more time to do that.
All right, so would Mao hold Bitcoin?
Yes.
Let's get to that before we get to the microplastics. The first thought is like, who's the target audience, right? And I've had people say like, do you want to translate this to Mandarin? I'm like, yeah, it could be helpful. I think I'm actually going to be doing some educational resources in Mandarin.
Cool.
Kind of just like overall, there's a lot of demand for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's like that much demand for like more of a geopolitical kind of thing, but this was definitely meant for more like Bitcoiners who are interested in China,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Having said that, I've had policy people, Chinese people who are really interested in just like understanding kind of what happened from like the OGs and stuff like that. But it was really meant from that. And then it was published with Bitcoin Magazine. And when we talked with the people, I was like, look, what is the one thing people know about Chinese history? Because I proposed like, I think 2 titles. One was like Red Star, Red Eyes over China, which again, no one would have gotten. That's like even more obscure. It's a Edgar Snow book. Exactly. You're nodding your head, but it's
I went
not,
to Laser Eyes until 100K. I'll be honest. I was
exactly.
just like Laser Eyes till 100K. I don't know.
Yeah. But now it's would Mao hold Bitcoin because China Mao. But what's been surprising about this is the younger people don't really know who Mao is anymore.
Really?
Insane.
Yeah, I talked to some people who don't know who Mao is, and now I'm like, like I can't even like now like that's even losing it generation by generation. I don't know what's happening with the educational system, but and the idea was to kind of like, it does reflect the balance in a way that people can understand. Because China is just like inherently contradictory. That's what my book goes into a lot. Oh, are they capitalists? Are they socialists?
Right.
Is Mao, he was a communist, but he was also a rebel at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So thinking about it in that lens makes you think like simultaneously that the state, China, should hold Bitcoin and should not. And that's the debate. I mean, it's still a live debate, and that's why we're still talking about it to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
Thought about the question, came up with the cover art, really happy with the cover art.
It's great.
It's like, yeah, like I think some people have bought it just literally as...
You've got a really great foreword. I mean,
Yeah, Alex gave a.
That's as far as you get through the book. Alex Gladstein wrote it. I think you're golden. And he didn't pay me to say that. But I do accept Bitcoin now, Alex, if you're listening.
I mean, Alex did write a really good foreword, and
He's a great writer.
yeah, he's a great writer, and everything kind of the great thing about the foreword is I knew he read the whole book, so I was like, yes. But yeah, no, the cover ended up really good. I think for those who are seeing it or not seeing it, it's like a photo of Mao being pixelated.
Yep.
I kind of think it's a little bit of you know, hey, if Bitcoin is censored in China, can we censor Mao outside of China? That might be a bold way of putting it, but I did say this
Thanos thing, like
well,
Avengers.
Yeah, a little bit, but
Mr.
like
Stark, what's happening to me?
yeah, but it was also kind of important for me to also get across because it's a polarizing topic. I mean, Chinese people who are in Bitcoin who have looked at the book, they get a little bit offended because they think I'm like trying to honor Mao a little bit, right? And I need to be really. And my family suffered a lot under Mao and all this other stuff, and I can go into it, but like I definitely don't want to be seen as endorsing Mao. And I very much like, and we'll probably get into the talk, but I've come to see Bitcoin as being like one of the things that can maybe Mao-proof a society.
With anything that's sensitive and complicated,
Yeah.
it's always going to be one of those situations where it's like, did you read the book? Did you listen to the podcast? Did you have the conversation? There are always those touch points for people when they're coming into a hyper-charged topic to just opt out to the first thing, right? And you're talking about the cover art or the title. Like that's, I don't know, it's a bit depressing for people to just like go to that and say, is this honorific of that? It's just like, did you read the book?
Yeah.
It's a whole book.
Yeah.
Like, please read it.
Question isn't in you one day.
Yeah.
But what do you then?
You have to do that. I feel like that's just the world and the state of discourse that we have to go through and like trudge through it.
Yeah.
But it's a great book. Everybody should get one. Bring it to PubKey. Roger will sign it tonight.
I will. I'll be there at PubKey. We're doing the live event. I'll actually answer the question in full of like, would Mao hold Bitcoin?